Hi guys, and welcome back to another Premier League video. Now today, moving on to round 24. It's been a few weeks since the last round, but round 23 didn't go so well. Got no scores correct. Hopefully, been a break and we can get some scores right here. So let's get in to my predictions. Now the first fixture here has actually already been played. Brighton versus Chelsea ended 1-1. Now my prediction was 2-1 to Chelsea, so no points there. Reason it's already been played is because of Chelsea's commitments to the Club World Cup, so they had to reschedule that match against Brighton. That's the first match, didn't get it right. Now let's get in to the fixtures that are actually upcoming. And our first game is Newcastle versus Everton. Now Newcastle won their last game 1-0 against Leeds, and they're actually unbeaten in 3, so not doing too badly. Everton, they've lost 3 league games in a row, but Frank Lampard's taken charge. This will be his first Premier League game. He did play his first competitive Everton fixture on the weekend, and he smashed Premier League opposition Brentford 4-1. Also signed some good players on loan, including Dele Alli and Donny van der Beek. So this could be quite interesting for Everton now, and I think they might be able to turn their terrible season around and try and push for somewhere in between 11th and 14th, just somewhere away from the relegation zone where they are now. I think Lampard will turn it around, but I think for his first game, coming up against a fighting Newcastle, who have obviously spent a lot of money in January, it will be difficult. So I'm going to say no team loses, 1-1. West Ham taking on Watford next. And West Ham have lost 2 in a row in the league, and they only just scraped past Kidderminster Harriers 2-1 in the FA Cup. They were 1-0 down, scored in 90 plus 1, I believe, to send it to extra time, and then scored in the last minute of extra time to win it. Heartbreaking for Kidderminster. But yeah, West Ham got through that, and this is going to be a tough fixture for them, because Watford, they drew 0-0 with Burnley in their last game, but that was Roy Hodgson's first game in charge. Claudio Ranieri was sacked. And they did play better against Burnley than they have against Ranieri. It's the first clean sheet they've kept in God knows how long, and I think they will be a bit more defensively solid. However, I've got to back West Ham here just because they've got much better players. And yeah, David Moyes has been doing well with them, even though they're in a spot of poor form at the moment. I think they'll win this one, 2-1. Burnley versus Man United next. And Burnley, they've drawn 2 in a row, both 0-0. They've only won 1 game this season so far. They need to start winning games or they're going to get relegated. Man United won 2 in a row in the league, but they did get knocked out of the FA Cup on penalties against Middlesbrough. That's obviously a competition they're now out of, and that was probably the most likely competition for them to win, as they're now in the Premier League, obviously not going to win it, and in the Champions League, and they're not going to win that either, realistically. So, another year with no trophies for Man United, but not too bad, because I think they'll at least beat Burnley. I'd hope so anyway. So I'm going to go Man United to win, 2-0. Man City versus Brentford now, and Man City didn't win. They drew 1-1 with Southampton, and that put a stop to 12 league wins in a row, which is just ridiculous anyway. But they couldn't make it 13. Southampton got a point, and it was a very good game from Southampton. Brentford, they are struggling. Lost 4 in a row, and they're dropping down the table. And they need to start picking up some points around this time, because Newcastle are going to start pushing up. Everton are going to start pushing up. Norwich have been winning games recently, so they will also. And they don't want to slip down the table too far and end up in a relegation fight. However, I can't see Brentford winning this one or even getting a point. Man City comfortably 3-0. Norwich versus Crystal Palace next. And Norwich have been pretty impressive. Won 2 in a row in the league against Everton and Watford. 2 relegation rivals. They're both down there this season, and they were great games for Norwich to win. And then they also won in the FA Cup, knocking out Wolves, who we all know how good Wolves are defensively, and they've been very good this season. So brilliant from Norwich there. And they're picking up a bit of pace, Norwich are. Crystal Palace haven't won in their last 3 games, and it's difficult with Palace because I think they've got quite a lot of good players, but they do draw too many games. And I just think that Norwich have got a good chance of winning this one. So I'm going to go all out and say that they will. Norwich to win 2-1. Spurs versus Southampton next. And this could be an interesting one. Spurs, under Conte, tasted defeat for the first time in the Premier League, and it was against Conte's former club, Chelsea. 2-0, and it's just interesting to see how he bounces back from that loss now and how the players react. And they're up against a tough Southampton side, hard to beat as of late, and have been scoring quite a few goals. Their last fixture drew 1-1 with Man City, and they played very well in that game to put a stop to Man City's 12-game winning run. So Southampton, capable of anything on their day, and they seem to be having quite a few good days recently. So could there be a shock here? I'm going to go for the same scoreline for Southampton again, 1-1. Villa versus Leeds next, and Villa won 1-0 against Everton after 3 games without a win. Leeds lost 1-0 to Newcastle after 2 wins in a row. This is tough to call. I don't think it'll end a draw, to be honest. That's probably going to come back and bite me, and it will be a draw. But I either think Villa are going to win low scoring, probably 1-0, or Leeds will just have a chaotic win, like a 3-2. And I don't think Villa will win high scoring or Leeds will win low scoring. I don't know why, but I'm going to back Villa here. Sadly, I think they'll win it 1-0. Liverpool take on Leicester now, and Liverpool won 2 in a row, and their last loss in the league was actually 1-0 against Leicester. Now Leicester, they haven't won in 2, and I've just got to say, this season they are probably the most inconsistent team in the league. They, as I said, they beat Liverpool 1-0, but then they'll just go missing next game. It's so weird and they're so difficult to call. And they did lose in the FA Cup against their local rivals, Nottingham Forest. And it wasn't just a loss, it was a complete battering. Forest won 4-1. And yeah, poor from Leicester. And we've said that a few times, especially in that game against Spurs, where Spurs won 3-2 and scored 2 in the last couple of minutes. So Leicester, not great really at the moment. They can have their days, but I don't see them getting anything out of this. But just as a safety, I'm going to call it as a tight win for Liverpool. So I'm going to go Liverpool to win 2-1. And finally, a very tasty game, but it probably won't have many goals. It's Wolves versus Arsenal. Now Wolves, they've won 3 in a row and they're unbeaten in 5. And they also have the second best defence in the division, only behind Man City. So Wolves absolutely solid defensively. The amount of times we've said this season is pretty crazy, but they keep being very, very good defensively. Arsenal drew 0-0 with Burnley in their last game. Game before that, lost 2-1 to Man City. So they haven't won in 2 Premier League games. And they seem to have lost their attacking edge a bit. So I'm going to go in this one. I was very tempted to go all out for Wolves. But I think Arsenal obviously have the ability to score goals. But Wolves are so good defensively. I'm not going to go as boring as a 0-0. I'll one-up it. 1-1. So, those are my predictions for these Premier League fixtures. Let me know down in the comments what your predictions are. Please like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more Premier League content. And make sure you check out my other content, Championship and a Football Manager career mode as Birmingham City. It's very interesting. Currently on deadline day, looking to make a few new acquisitions. So let me know in the video, Football Manager, the 3rd episode, who I should sign.